Hello everyone and welcome to our new video tutorial. Today I'm excited to show you the powerful capabilities of the Avonni Calendar Component in Salesforce. We'll look at the fully functional calendar displaying a list of resources. And in this case, I will display a list of bikes and their associated event like bike rentals. So here on the screen, you can see the Avonni calendar in action. And as you can see, it's seamlessly integrated within Salesforce, displaying a list of resources and events. For example, each bike in our inventory is a booking rental. So let's dive into how functional this calendar component is functional. So let's dive on how this calendar is fully functional. We have various things that is fully functional on this calendar. For example, if you hover an event, you will see detailed information. And you can also see button action on the event. And these buttons are completely functional. When you click on edit, you can edit the rental. When you click on view, you can go directly on the view page. We also added this action button, new rental. So basically, this action button on the header is launching another flow to book a rental that will be automatically displayed on the calendar. The calendar is extremely versatile, meaning that it's easy to switch from the timeline view to the calendar view and also to the agenda view. So you have the flexibility to select the view you'd like to display on the calendar. So now that you've seen the Avonni calendar in action, let's take a step back and build this from the ground up. So here I'm going to recreate this example using Flow Builder and the Avonni Flow Screens component for the calendar. So first, let's start by creating a new flow, a new screen flow right there. Before diving into the screen element with the Avonni calendar, we need first to set up the get records information, to feed information or to look for information on our Salesforce. So here I'm going to create a get records collection to search information regarding the bikes. So get bikes information. I want to use the bike object, custom object. I don't want to filter by anything. So I don't have any filter requirement. So get bikes, and now let's create another get records to fetch the rentals. So get rentals. Rental. Same, no condition, show me all rentals. Perfect. So now we can dive into the screen element. Let's add the screen element. Hide this and this to make it extremely custom. And now we need to drag the Avonni calendar component. So like we did for each of the Avonni calendar, you have access to the component builder to fully customize the calendar. Open component builder. So let's start by focusing and configuring the most crucial part of the Avonni calendar. It's the data source. This is where we feed here the data we need to bring into the calendar. So think about the data source as your backbone for the calendar setup. You can add the data source manually by entering resources and events manually, or you can use variable. And that's what I'm going to use because I already have set up my variables using my get records collection. So first, we need to talk about resources and event. So resources. In the Avonni calendars, the resources, it's like key elements involved in our events. For our bike rental example, those resources are the bikes themselves. So that's really important to understand the meaning of resources and event. So here I will select get bikes for the resource collection and now event. So the event, it's really activities we need to track on the calendar. In our case, it's the bike rentals. event, it's really extremely important because this is what your users will interact with. So this could be meetings, could be project deadlines, could be cases, could be, for example, in our case, it could be rentals. So you will select the get records collection, get rentals. So to really continue the configuration of the Avonni calendar, we need to do the data mapping. And this is extremely important because this is basically where we can link data coming from the get records collection to the data we like to display on the calendar. So for example, resources regarding the label, what fields I want to select to display the label. For example, resources label name would be the bike name. Name, it's automatically completed, it's the unique record ID for the resource. If needed, we can add the avatar source. So if you want to display an image on the resource, like I have on my example, you can select the field here. It's the image, it's a URL field. So that's for the resources. Now, event. I will do the exact same step for event. For example, here, event will be the contact name. The name will be the name of the contact that rent a bike. And as we dive into data mapping, there is really one attribute that is extremely important. It's this one, it's the resource name. So basically the resource name in the event section, it's more than just a label. It's really the key about linking the event to the corresponding resource. And for my example, the resource name will be bike underscore C, so the lookup field of the bike, because each event is linked to a bike, so each event is linked to a resource. And that's why it's extremely important to set up that attribute. Otherwise, the calendar won't work properly. Then you can configure the from, so it can be start date, in my case, to its end date. If you have all the event, you can have an attribute for that. Then you have color and theme. And you can get a preview here on this Canva. If you want, you can also select theme. So you can select variable manual for the theme. It's really the way you like to display the event, like lines, rounded, hollow, default. It's extremely versatile, highly customizable. So here we just set up the mapping section. The calendar is almost ready, but you have access to more settings to customize the calendar to fit your needs. You can, for example, selected time span. If you want to display week, you can display per week. Then you have header if you want to customize the header section. Demo Avonni calendar. That you can see here. You can add an avatar or an icon if you want. Let's pick the this one. Action. So that's the action button you'd like to add here on the header. I don't know if you remember my first example live on Salesforce. I have like a new rental action. So that's where I'm creating this button, new rental. But here I'm just creating the button. Next step will be to make that button functional for the users. You have other settings like available times. If you want to hide specific days, if you want to hide specific months, that's possible. The same for time frame. Let's say you only want to display daytime. So you can say, oh, I only want to display on the time frame from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's the syntax you need to use. It's using the this ISO formatting time strings to really adapt the time frame you'd like to display. As you can see, now I can only see time from 8 to 6. So if it's before 8 or after 6, it won't be displayed on the calendar. Context menu action. That's where you will create action on event, for example. So let's say you like to have an edit action to edit an event. So when you click here, add the edit action, you can see now I have my edit button. The same, you can have the view button. You can have action on empty spot. Then you have event display. So it's really more UI customization for the theme, the palette of colors. You can select the palette of colors if you want to customize that. Popover fields, if you want to add extra fields right there, that's where the popover fields comes into play. You have advanced option for custom palette as well. Then you have filtering option. If you want to filter by specific fields, you can also hide resources filter. You won't have access to the filters right there. Hide date time picker as well. So depending on how you can customize the calendar view, you can have the date time picker at the top or left panel, for example. Popover. Popover, it's this one. Search, let's say you like to make your item searchable, you can have a search engine, just check that, and all the events will be available as through the search engine. So now, regarding this button, you can also fully customize. I remember to show you that right there. It's the selected display. You can select what you'd like to display by default. If you want to display timeline view, agenda view, you can select the selected display by default. Advanced option, you have the ability to hide specific display if needed. If you only want to have the agenda available, you can hide calendar and timeline view. So now, that's for the properties panel. Now, let's focus on action. Remember, we have action in this new rental button, and we also have action here, edit and view. How can we make those actions functional? And that's where the interaction tab comes into play. So when you click on interaction, you will be able to define the interaction when your users are clicking on the button. For example, new rental, it's a toolbar action. So you click on add toolbar, you select the target name, and now you can select the type of interaction you like to create. For example, new rental, I want to launch another flow because I already created my flow for users to add new rentals. So here, select the type, you will select Open Flow Dialog. And from there, you just need to type the flow you'd like to open. If needed, you can even pass input variable. For that case, no, I don't need that. And then you have interaction on finish. So let's say users are finishing the flow that is opening. By clicking on the new enter button, you can say, oh, I'd like to have on finish, show a toast message. Let's say, thank you. We will reach you shortly. And then variant success. You want to display this message in green. So you can select the variant. Close. And then you can save that. So here now, when you will test that on Salesforce on the debug mode, you will be able to click on the new rental to see the new model box. So let's say you want to create the action on the edit button. You will click on add event, select target name, edit. Type of interaction. It's not open flow dialog. Here it's navigate. What you like, where you like to navigate. You'd like to navigate to the record page to be able to edit that record. Record page. Now, which object? I am an object, custom object rental. Which record? Event name, that's the current record ID. And then action name. I want the users to edit this. Save. So it's simple. You can do the same process, but using the view target name And it's the same. Navigate to the record page, which object is the rental object, event name, and then instead of edit, view. And you're done. So here, using the interaction panel, I just set up 3 interactions on the action, other action, and then on the event themselves. Perfect. If needed, you still have access to the style panel if you want to customize, let's say, the background color of the header. That's possible. You can customize this if you want. And then you just set up the calendar. That's basically how it works for the basics of the Avonni calendar, how you can easily customize the Avonni calendar component into your ScreenFlow, which is extremely versatile. So a quick recap. The main things we need to take care about, it's really customizing the data source, linking that data source using the get records collection for resources and for events. And don't forget to fill out properly the resource name attribute. That's where it's linking the event to the corresponding resources. Otherwise, it won't work properly. So that's basically for the Avonni calendar component. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any question or if you're stuck somewhere. We are here to assist you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.